So for any of you out there that's been in the market and looking for a Foxbody, or maybe you're not looking for a Foxbody and you just kind of cruise through classifieds and want to see what's happening out there, you probably noticed that there's been some really good deals out there lately. So the question is why? What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Infamous Project. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Neo Mustangs. I'm just kidding, but shout out to my man Danny. I just always end up wearing his t-shirt, so there's a good idea. If anybody of you guys out there have t-shirts and you want it to be seen, man, I love having t-shirts that I can wear around the shop and wrench and work on. And well, I get my Infamous Project ones dirty all the time, and I kind of feel bad for ruining them. But anyways, I want to get into a topic today, and it's not going to be DIY related stuff. There is DIY coming. In fact, I'll probably continue shooting after this video. Getting back to the Cali Coupe here, you're going to see that it's sitting on different wheels. That's a whole other story, but I'm trying to get the interior and everything wrapped and buttoned up with this car the way that I want it. But that's not what we're going to talk about. Today, I want to talk about something that I've actually bounced off a few really close friends, fellow influencers, and just general, call them Foxbody entrepreneurs. So there's something going on right now in today's Foxbody market, mostly right now, like we're talking, what is it, end of March 2022. So we're getting into tax season. We're getting into nicer weather for the most part. And typically this is the time when Foxbody prices would be the highest. Now, I did a video back in 2020 talking about Foxbody pricing, how all the values have gone up, the reasons why it's gone up, and a lot of fellow YouTubers have gone over the same thing and their points, and a lot of us share the same views, you know? People wanting to relive high school cars and memories that sold them, you know, they had kids, they got married, all life things that potentially happen. And things change. And now people wanting to maybe reinvest in the cars that they once had, trying to perfect them, trying to replace them, or maybe they could never afford to even get in one back in the day. So now is their opportunity to do so. So with that influx of demand, the prices just skyrocketed. And, you know, we saw Dennis Collins sell his collection off at Barrett Jackson a few years ago. We've seen people like Donkey Fix-It pay over $100,000 for some Cobra R's, and so on and so forth. The list goes on. We've seen what happens at Meckham. We see what happens at Barrett. We see what happens on, I'm not going to say Marketplace, but in any for sale avenue, there are some really high priced cars and some really nice cars. One really nice example would be this 1993 Reef Blue Notch that I recently picked up. And I don't want to talk about this category of car. And I don't want to talk about the 86 4i. I don't want to talk about the 93 Calypso. Why? Because all of these cars are a little bit more niche, or there's pedigree behind them. You know, 93 Calypso, well, Calypso started in 91, went all the way out through 93, but a Calypso on black interior car, last year the Fox, hard to find. Reef Blue, 1993 only color. And to get an original 5.0 Reef Blue 5-speed car, extremely rare. 86 GT4i, fully loaded. One owner, reasonably low mileage on it. It's filthy right now. My apologies, it got caught outside when I was moving stuff around. But all of these cars, call them the higher spectrum of the market. Nothing's changing there, in my opinion. But something that I've noticed is something like the Cali Coupe right here, or something similar. This is a pretty nice car, but you take this car, or even Project Come and Take It that I've been working on, which is by no means a perfect car. It's a 4-cylinder to 8 conversion, but it's a car both of these, I believe, are cars that you would find in the $10,000 to $25,000 price point range. And if you guys have been following and looking at the market recently, I have been seeing some really good deals. So the question is why? It seems like, and it could be one of two things. The first one could be the fact that the market is actually correcting itself. The overpriced inflation and that demand and that surge that we initially saw, where everybody just had to run and go out and find a Fox, that market is either dying off a little bit. You know, maybe everyone that wanted one got one. Maybe that little bit of Fox crazy phase is no longer upon us. Or is it something to do with the economy? And the reason why I say that is because we've been sort of immersed or found ourselves underneath this big dark cloud for the past 2 years that has really changed our lives, changed the way that we thought or that we would think. And, you know, the economy was doing reasonably okay. A lot of us were in really good positions. We were spending more time at home. We were wanting to find a hobby. We were trying to almost live our best lives because everything was forcing us to, right? Like our day-to-day was completely disrupted. And all of a sudden it's like, man, if something drastic really happens to the world, better go out and get our toys or go tick off our bucket list items, call it. And I think Fox bodies were one of those things. And now that we're starting to get back to reality, obligations are coming back into play, reality is coming back into play. So that could be number two. And me personally, I think it's a combination of both. And the reality is that $10,000 to $25,000, I guess, mid-range market of the Fox body was inflated so high. There was the dreamers out there that thought that their $8,000 cars were worth $15,000, and people with $15,000 cars were worth $25,000, and you had to go through all of those crazy asks, and we see the threads and comments on Facebook Marketplace of all these people that ask unrealistic prices. But now I'm starting to see really good value for the money. And in fact, I saw something the other day which shocked me. It brought me back 20 plus years. It was a guy, he had a 5-liter, I don't know if it was a coupe or not. It might have just been a hatch. And I kid you guys not, he posted up and said, I can't afford fuel. I want to get into a 4-cylinder Fox body. So man, like that reminded me of being in high school and not being able to afford gas at that time. So I don't think that the gas prices really have the impact on the market or the prices of the cars right now, because, you know, if they're weekend cruisers, who cares? It's not like you're filling up that gas tank every couple of days or once a week even. So I don't think it's that. It was just interesting to see that somebody had actually posted that about the gas prices. And it is something that needs to be, I guess, factored into decision and which way you want to go and what the future is going to hold. And if you guys haven't listened to the podcast that I'm on with Castle Customs, make sure that you guys check that out, because it seems like that's a reoccurring subject, is the gas prices and EV vehicles. So I'll be sure to link down to this podcast in the description of the video. So let's get back into a little bit more of the price point and the market of these Fox bodies right now. So like I said in the beginning, the rarer, more desirable cars, the 93 Cobras, the ultra low mile cars, you know, we're talking 30K miles and below. So anything that you would find with a price tag of $35,000 and above, that market is not changing. That market is filled with rare pedigree, with rarity, with desirable cars, ultra low miles. So something like the Reef Blue Notch here, that's just a car that is always going to hold its value. And in fact, it'll probably keep creeping up. The 93 Cobra that I have sitting underneath plastic over here, that is another car that is never going to lose. My Celine race car, well, that one has a lot of interesting history behind it, so I couldn't really tell you what the fate is there. But, you know, the Tip Dutch Coupe, my silver notchback here, 20,000 original miles on it. That's always going to hold significant value as well. So I'm curious to know if you guys have noticed this change in the market, or maybe you guys aren't Foxbody owners and you're just starting to look now. And hopefully this video will be of a benefit to you, because I think those prices in the mid-range, mid-class Foxbody ownership, that market is going to continue to self-correct itself, and you're going to be able to get yourself a reasonably clean notch GT, convertible, whatever it is that you might be interested in, for a pretty good price. I've actually taken a couple screenshots over the past, I'd say 2 weeks, and you know, I've been sending them to some of my friends, like I said, and you know, we all agree that there has been some really good deals out there. There is an adjustment in the market, at least I believe there is one. So I'm curious to know, again, what you guys think and your opinion of the Foxbody market, what the lower class portion of the market looks like. You know, your cars that are basket case projects, that are borderline part out vehicles, you know, the cars, let's just call them sub $5,000. So I'm curious to know what you guys think that market looks like in the future, because I've actually seen some really well-priced parts cars that have come up as well. Stuff that people were trying to get $6,000, $7,000 for. I've seen price tags of, you know, $2,500, $3,500, very reasonable prices that, you know, as me, somebody who is constantly looking for original parts to help revive, restore, put back to stock, any of those types of projects that I'm doing, you know, those are really good value. Now, when people are asking $6,000 for something that's rotted out and has 200,000 miles on it, well, there's really not much value left in a car like that, unless it just happened to have mint black interior and some other rare goodies, but that's typically not the case. So we have the lower class cars that I think are just going to continue to deteriorate. Those are the cars that are kind of like abandoned, that are just going to take too much work, time, and effort to restore them back, unless they're rare. Like, take the Celine project car that I have right now. If that car wasn't a Celine, I would have just turned that into a part out car. The rear's all cut up, the front's all been crashed and banged, and everything else. Is a car altogether, and did it run, did it drive? Yes, but there's too much that is messed up with that car if that was just a regular LX hatch at the end of the day. So thankfully it's got the Celine plaque, it's worth me fixing. Same thing with my 88 T-Top GT. That thing's got a lot of issues, but it's the last year of the T-Top, and there's value in restoring that. I think it's really important that if you guys currently are not a Foxbody owner, that you ask yourself, what type of Foxbody are you looking for? What are the options, and what's the desirability and rarity of the ones that you're looking at, to make sure that you make a good conscious decision and buy right. Because if you don't buy right, well, and you're gonna never hear the end of it, that you lost money on the car, you never should have got it, or it was full of issues and this, that, and the next thing. So do your due diligence. There's lots of videos out there that tell you, you know, what to look for in terms of, you know, VIN stickers, or looking for accidents, checking paint, checking drivetrain and mechanical issues, and all those types of things. So do your homework, do your research, look up and see, is, you know what, you might know or be looking at something that's ultra rare. A gentleman reached out to me the other day for a white notchback that was in his not in his backyard, but was close to him. And he sent me the post, and I said, dude, I know the car, and if I lived as close to him as you do, then that car wouldn't be for sale anymore. But logistics, unfortunately, has killed a lot of things in terms of acquiring vehicles, because, well, that's something that gas prices is affecting, is transport and shipping, trucking of vehicles, because, you know, what used to cost me $600 to get a car is pretty much doubled now. So that is something that you have to factor in. Buying the car is one thing, getting it is another. Registration, taxes, all those lovely other things that you need to consider. But now I'm just rambling. So I think you guys have got the point. and see where I'm coming from. Again, drop me down a line in the comments and let me know your opinions if you think the Foxbody market is in fact correcting itself, or is it just something with the economy, or a combination of both. So there you have it. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time here on the Infamous Project. We got a lot more coming, so be sure to stay tuned. We'll see you next time.